So, my name is Abby, and I had homelessness in the United States for my current events project. So, 553,742 is the approximate number of homeless people in the United States. And it's actually projected it could be much more than that, but this is just one number that they gave that they know of, but because it's a hard thing to know, but it probably could be much more than that number. So I was going to start off with some interesting facts and statistics. The first one is half of the homeless population in the United States comes from 5 states, which is California, New York, Florida, Texas, and Washington. So it's sort of crazy that it only comes from 5 states, and these 5 states all have a pretty big population, major cities. So that's one of the main reasons that there are more homeless people there. And if you go to certain places in those states, you can, it's noticeable that there are much more. So my next statistic was Black people make up about 40% of the homeless population. And this is due to a multitude of things and has a lot to do with history too, and the current situations. But yeah, because Black people don't make up that much, it's not proportionate to the current population. Another statistic was males are much more likely to be homeless, which I just thought was interesting. The rate of homelessness in the United States has declined substantially, and it has declined over the past 10 years, but in certain states it's gone up, so it's sort of fluctuated and gone up and down. It's always changing. Another interesting statistic was Pacific Islanders and Native Americans are much more at risk to become homeless in America, which is another thing I just thought was interesting because, that it's not proportionate to the population, so it's just interesting to look at and learn more. And then another fact was veterans are also much more susceptible to be homeless, but the amount of veterans that are homeless has declined due to just the overall homeless population declining. But yeah, veterans are, which is sad because they fight for our country, but they're much more likely to be homeless. So then I just have some charts and infographics here that you can look at and see the population and then the amount of homeless people. And there's different projections, this number 610,042. That's different than the number I gave because all of the projections are different, but these are just some interesting statistics. So then some causes of homelessness. Housing, depending on where you live, your income, how much money you're making, your health, if what shape you're in, different things, mental health, physical, violence. A lot of people, flee violence, so they'll leave their house, family problems. Another big one is unemployment, not being able to get a job. A lot of it, it has to do a lot with money, obviously, and, there's a multitude of factors that play into why somebody is homeless. So this is a quote that I found that I thought you could relate to homelessness, and that was interesting. And it says, "It is in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it," and that's by Nelson Mandela, and he's a political leader and philanthropist. So yeah, I just thought that was that really relates to homelessness, and giving back and helping out and doing good in the world. So this is just a short history of homelessness in the U.S., just some different things that have to do with homelessness that have happened throughout the years. So I started with the Civil War. Many veterans had trouble finding jobs after the war, leaving some without a home, which you can relate to today because veterans still make up a lot of the homeless population. So that still sort of goes on. And then skid rows became popular at the end of the 1800s, and they were housing lodges for homeless people, just lots of people staying in these spots, not ideal conditions at all, just places where a bunch of people could stay, basically, who were homeless. So then the next thing I have is demolition of housing, and during the 50s and 60s, many skid row houses and other affordable housing options, especially in areas with lots of minorities, were destroyed, leaving more people with nowhere to stay. So that just took away more housing options for people and just took away options and chances. So then closing psychiatric institutions. During the 1950s, lots of psychiatric institutions began to close and left a lot of just unstable people at risk of being homeless because they couldn't live in these institutions anymore. So yeah, just like closing things down and stuff like that. So then, during the 1970s, economic inequality became more prevalent under the Reagan administration, and it made it harder for people to move up and make more money. So, like, move up social class, and just, it made it harder for people to physically move to a different place with better opportunity due to different acts that were put in place and the economic changes that were made. So the next, mass incarceration. During the 1980s, mass incarceration took way, and many people became homeless after coming out of jail. This affected, disproportionately a lot of Black people, and yeah, a lot of people were homeless because they came out of jail and they didn't have anywhere to go. And then drug epidemics is another thing that has caused many people to go to jail. They use all their money on drugs, they're not able to get a job. And all of these factors can lead to homelessness. And this also, causes people to not be stable. So drug epidemics has been another thing that have caused people to become homeless. So then zoning rules is my last one, and it says zoning rules have made it harder for people with low income to move to places with better financial opportunities. So yeah, it's made it harder for people to find better financial opportunities and go to places where they could get better jobs or just live a better life financially. So then I have this video from HuffPost that explains a little bit more about homelessness in America.
There are more homeless people in America today than the populations of Orlando and Reno combined. And that doesn't include people forced to live with friends or relatives. That number could be closer to 7.4 million. But the American economy is showing signs it's bounced back from the 2008 recession. The GDP is up, unemployment is down, and homes are selling. Yet despite all that progress, the gap in income inequality keeps widening. Since 1980, the world's richest 1% have taken larger and larger shares of the world's income, while the bottom half has taken smaller and smaller slices of the pie. This pattern is pushing more and more people to the financial brink. Estimates show that 150 million people worldwide may be homeless. Another 1.6 billion don't have adequate housing. So, what got us here? For one, housing prices have skyrocketed while ordinary people's incomes stagnate. To afford an average rate apartment in the U.S., a person must earn at least $16.35 an hour. That's more than double the federal minimum wage. There's no magic bullet, but innovative solutions are being tested around the world. The most promising are designed to tackle homelessness from all angles: housing, substance abuse, health, and social isolation. There's the Housing First movement. That means putting a roof over people's heads, then tackling issues like mental illness and addiction with support services. It's worked for Finland and Denmark. While homelessness rises across Europe, it's declining in those countries. These new ideas are promising. And as global wealth grows, new solutions and ideas are arising to tackle the complexity of homelessness. However, if applying these solutions aren't made a priority on a global scale, then the millions of those who are homeless may likely continue to grow.
Okay, so yeah, I just thought that was an interesting video, and yeah, I just like went into more detail and compared the United States with other countries, and I just thought it was interesting, giving more facts and statistics to look at about homelessness and just learn more about it.
There are more.
So next I have different viewpoints on homelessness. So I put just two different general viewpoints that people tend to have. This isn't necessarily saying this is like what all people have, and a lot of people, think different things, like mixed feelings, whatever. But I just said, a positive viewpoint would be like somebody who feels really bad for people who are homeless and wants to help them, are very empathetic and sorry for them. And then some people might perceive them as homeless people as being a threat, a danger, criminals, drug addicts, just, a more negative connotation. So yeah, it just goes to show how people look at people differently in general. So another quote that I had was, "We have come dangerously close to accepting the homeless situation as a problem that we just can't solve." And this is by Linda Lingle. And I just thought this was another very fascinating quote because, people don't focus on homelessness, some people do, but it is an issue that I feel like could be more broadly talked about, to try and help these people that are impoverished and need our help. And it's not a situation that anybody wants to be in, but yeah, that quote just was very powerful, I thought. And then the impacts of homelessness, more diseases spread. Homeless people are more likely to get certain diseases. An example is tuberculosis, and which can spread rapidly among other homeless people. They don't have the best health care and can't afford that, so it's just different. And then the incarceration rate, there are some laws that specifically target homeless people, so homeless people typically spend more time in jail, and sometimes being in jail, after people get out, that causes them to be homeless because they don't know what to do. So sort of two ways, but yeah. And then moral dilemmas. Homeless people oftentimes have had lots of struggles in their life, such as violence, addiction, low income, mental health problems, and poor education. So just lots of different moral things and issues that have gone on in their life. And then some major organizations trying to help the homeless. I just listed a few, and they have websites online that you can go to. National Coalition for the Homeless, National Alliance to End Homelessness, and Feeding America are just three different organizations trying to help the homeless and hunger and things like that. So then celebrities who spoke up about homelessness. Angelina Jolie has worked and helped refugees and those who are impoverished. Jay-Z used his platform, shed light on poverty and other humanitarian issues. Leonardo DiCaprio advocated of humanitarian issues. Ellen DeGeneres, lots of acts of kindness and help those in need. She also has used her platform for that a lot. Same with Maroon 5, done various things to help fight hunger in the United States. And John Bon Jovi opened a soup kitchen, a pay-it-forward style restaurant, and set up a foundation to help build affordable housing. And there's many more celebrities that have done similar things, but this is just a few that I named. And then just to end, in conclusion, homelessness is a major problem in America. Do what you can to help. It's not just gonna end, and I think everybody needs to, make a change. And this isn't how people want to live. It's, no matter what got them there. Yeah, I just think it's important that everybody has empathy. So yeah, that's my project. So yeah.